Yo.
The man of the hour.
What's going on?
Happy New Year, man.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Salutations, Happy New Year.
Was it any good?
Huh?
Was your New Year any good?
I ended up working at my second job. I'm doing overnights at this place, and there was no one there, so I just had an apartment to myself all night. So yeah, this New Year's was good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Made lots of money.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, we got first podcast of the new year.
Yay!
New camera. We're in HD now.
Man.
We should have done it best off.
Yeah, we should have.
Moving on up.
20 seconds. It would have been 20 seconds.
We're moving up to the east side, Jamie. We're moving on up like the Jeffersons right now.
So what's new with you, Paul?
I've not left the house, dude. I'm too terrified.
Oh man,
I do the same shit.
Yeah, I've stayed in since about Christmas Eve now. So I don't even know what day
Yeah.
it is.
That's about right.
Yeah. Waiting for dust. I'm on Fruity Loops quite a lot, so I probably showed you.
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Well, I mean I'll tell you what. Even the other day, I had it where I had some guy who wanted me to produce a track for him. And I kept saying, yeah, I should get to it now, And then every day I would have come home from work, be like, all right, I'm going to work on the song. And then I would just have people hitting me up endlessly for nothing.
I know.
Trying to stand in the way of it. And it's like, if I had to choose between trying to remedy everyone's drama for them or sitting around making music all day, I'd pick music. So you're on the right track.
Damn straight.
Yeah. I don't have that problem. What have you got to do the track from scratch, or is he?
Yeah.
For you? From scratch.
Well, he had an idea of like the style he wanted me to produce, and it was pretty much like the pop music style that. No, this other guy actually from High Park.
Oh, gotcha.
But yeah, so it was like right up my alley, so I did it. It was pretty good. Now I just gotta see what he sings to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not into vocals and stuff. I don't worry about them.
It's a tough bag. It's a mixed bag.
Yeah, my friend, he keeps, as part of his chat-up line, he tells people that, because he looks the part, he tells people like he's a music producer and a music director.
Oh,
He can't play an instrument.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fake it till you make it. Like
I know, because I'm so insulted by it.
Oh, me too. Shit. Absolutely. That shit doesn't fly in a purist eyes musically, but like that's the trend and the climate of how things are going musically is that they're all faking it till they fucking make it, and they couldn't operate a big pen, let alone a fucking.
Basics. He knows the basics of reason.
Right.
He can't. I gave him a guitar. He can't get one note out of it. Not one.
There you go. There you go.
You know,
they gotta get them calluses, man.
It takes time, it takes dedication, it takes muscle memory, it takes intelligence, it takes time, it takes years and years, and it shows, when you say that, you're telling other people you're dedicated to an art.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know what's funny about this?
To push yourself. You're full of, and then we fall out, because I go, you're lying to people about something I'm passionate about.
Right.
And you're stealing my thunder, because I'm not saying I'm Jimi Hendrix, I'm not saying I'm Slash.
Right.
But compared to you, I am.
Yeah.
Exactly. You are two things, Jack and shit. I actually spent time doing this. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you knew as a kid what a big deal it was to be able to pick up a guitar and just play something by your ear, to
100%.
get to that stage where you can just hear something and repeat it.
It was competitive.
It takes years and years to do that, and you just come up and go, yeah, I'm a music director and a music producer in a nightclub to women. You just go, what have you produced?
Right.
You know what's funny about this?
How can you direct? You don't even know what a chord is. You don't know what a scale is. I'm not saying you need to know, but you need to know basic music theory.
Yeah.
Right.
To produce, you have to.
Or at least be Swiss Beats and make some samples sound good together, at least in a composition. Like
him and Timbaland are
but
kind
like,
of the exception.
you know what's funny about you bringing this up, Paul? To tie it into, you know, some of the political stuff we talk about. My friend Dave was starting a Twitch channel, and he was trying to come up with a bio for himself. And he was like, you know, I was thinking about stuff to put in here, and I was going to put, you know, music producer. He was like, but I haven't really produced anything recently. And I was like, well, you know, you can still, like, identify as a producer, you have put out songs, and some of these songs have done fairly well and stuff.
Oh, sure.
But I was just thinking how funny that is that you have someone who has the skill set and is like, I don't know if I feel worthy to identify myself by the skill set because I haven't been working, you know, in it recently. And there are, you know, men who will put on a dress and say, I recognize me as a woman.
Yeah.
Like, it's so funny where it's like, oh, well, with half the other shit these people are, you got a 55-year-old dude who identifies as a 6-year-old. I think you can call yourself a music producer.
Yeah,
like,
pretty much.
You just got to be able to at least be able to put a track down. And he goes, yeah, I'm a rapper, I'm this. He can't, I send him tracks and it's just the same mumbling over and over again.
Yep. Yep.
And it's to prove a point. It's not to be harsh, it's to prove how hard it actually is.
Oh, sure.
Even just to rap with a mic.
Oh, rapping is not an easy feat. If
you know,
if you're a pure rapper, like our buddy Cans, he's...
Well, and you know, even,
Still
like...
difficult. Still fucking difficult.
Well, you know, and even there's that project Cans did with those producers from France, and I was talking to him about it, and, like, there's a mixing issue on that project where, like, they just cut too much of the low end out of his voice, and it makes him sound like he's rapping through a telephone a lot of the time. And if people don't realize that it's, like, music producing, engineering, mixing and mastering, all of these are, like, fields of their own. I mean, back in the day, there used to be one person for each of those jobs. And, like, nowadays you do have it where it's easy to do all of it, but you can't just assume because you can mix a track, you know how to master a track. Right. Because you know how to mix, you know how to produce. Like, they're all their own designations and different things get done within each of them. And
I'm so pissed about it is because we're out meeting girls, and, like, I'm not that sexually attractive, and he is, and he uses what I actually do as a lie to get people.
Yeah, when I see that,
it's... pick on me going, you can't get women, you can't get women. It's like, trust me, dude, if a woman ever sees me play guitar, which is rare, but when they do, I do not have a problem no matter what level they are. If they're a 10, a 12, it don't matter. And the reason is, it's not because they like the music I'm into, it's not because the music did something to them, it's because of what music expresses about oneself.
Yes.
It's, like I said before, it's about dedication, self-commitment, self-improvement, being able to listen and repeat. And
there's some athleticism to it.
Yeah, it's memory muscle, it's dedication. If you show dedication to that, would you show dedication to your child?
Absolutely.
Music's a lot like a child in a way, it's something to dedicate.
Big time.
So when you go to a woman and you say, I'm into music, I do this music, you're actually saying a lot more.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's why, even though you might be 10 times sexier than me looking, once a woman sees me play a guitar or do a music track, I'm going to overtake you by about 100%.
That's why drummers always seem to get the lion's share of everything, because they're probably the most performance-based out of the whole thing. Like,
it'd be like me going, oh, I'm like a great dancer, I'm like the best dancer in the world. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, it takes dedication, dude.
Yeah.
Sure.
Drummers and guitarists. Get it. Girls throwing themselves at them. You can do anything. Grab him by the pussy.
Grab him by the
There he goes. There he goes, dropping jewels.
It's true, and it's not about them styling music or whatever, or because it sounds good. It's because of what it represents.
Yeah. Well, you know, in Freemasonry,
self-identify. People are just self-identifying as stuff that takes years and years.
Well, and you know, that's why whenever people
self-identify as a
people identify as rappers, and I always tell them, like, you know, rapping is an elementary school talent. Like, they teach you how to rhyme as a small kid to help remember words. No, they
fucking cheat. Let's be brutal about it. It's the lowest common denominator in music.
Yeah.
And if you go freestyle, if you go up to these black kids and go, hey, freestyle about H.G. Wells, first of all, I go, who's H.G. Wells? You go, like, fuck that. Do Back to the Future movie. They would just go, oh, nigga, whole bitches, nigga. It's like, no, you did that on your last freestyle.
Yeah.
Now, if you're a real rapper, then you'd be able to do that.
That's freestyle. I should be able to throw a subject at you, and you actually do the subject.
Yeah.
You guys are cheating. I'm throwing subjects at you, but you give me the same rap as what you did before about Rolex, bling, and all this. I want to hear about deep stories.
Like, I bet you
If you
Nas
can
would
do
be
that,
able to
I'd love
spin
it.
something pretty nice on, like, a subject if you
So I always think that's the difference between, like, rappers and lyricists.
Yeah, big time.
You know, like, a
Yeah,
lyricist
I
will be
do
able to
different.
write a story about something. A rapper is just rhyming whatever works. And,
Yep.
and hoping it makes sense by the end
Yeah,
of
and
it.
it's always degrading shit as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Because
Well,
it's
it's
easy
like,
to
you know
go to.
what? That's what I was going to say. It's like
Easy
the easy go-to fallback stuff, but it's almost like the easy go-to fallback stuff is the fallback from the easy go-to fall. Like, it just stays
it's
in
a
that
watered
zone.
down version of the.
Mate,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did better than that. This white guy over here challenged him to a rap battle, and I've never rapped before.
What was his name?
Can't say, that'd be cruel.
Oh, okay.
I said, let's do Bitcoin. Let's do a rap on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's quite cool. There's loads of cool words you can throw in there, like blockchain, decentralized. You can fuck the government, all that stuff. So it's like, let's do Bitcoin, because you can mix up so much shit. You can mix it with bling, because it's about money.
Yep.
That's true.
And all he came up was with bitches and hoes. I was like,
Bitches and hoes out of
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin? A Bitcoin will get your
That's what we
coin
got
flipped.
sent
But you
into-
could do all kinds of flips with Bitcoin. Jesus.
It doesn't matter what subject I pick, it goes on to bitches within 3 words.
Just bitches, just straight, man. That's
Party and bullshit.
it's an easy go-to because if you think about it, bitches rhymes with stitches, rhymes with riches, rhymes with
Glitches.
switches, glitches, twitches, yeah, niches, yeah. It goes on and on and on. It's
All I'm saying is lucky nigger rhymes with nigger.
that's the easiest go-to. Redman wrote an entire song that was just that. Or actually, no, Redman wrote the one that was motherfucker. It was like, back to y'all motherfuckers when I draw motherfuckers. Back to y'all
It's
motherfuckers.
about at this stage I go home. Alright guys, see you later. Good luck with that.
Holy shit.
You can see why I haven't got any mates.
A lot of them aren't worth having.
Yeah. Closer circle.
Yep. That's how I look at it. I mean, maybe it's just
Like, I'm
because...
always trying to throw ideas. I'm like, let's do a podcast. I go, I don't want to do a podcast. It's like, let's be in a band. Oh, I don't want to be in a band. It's like they talk about all this stuff's important to them. They want to create stuff. And when you actually want to do it, it's like, oh no. No.
Oh man, I know so many people like that
Oh
too.
gosh. Facts.
And then they bitch that we don't do anything. It's like, dude, I come up with ideas all the time.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, why didn't you do a podcast by yourself? It's like, because it's by myself. The whole point is you talk to someone. You fucking do that.
Why don't you do it by yourself?
Yeah, what the fuck?
There would be a lot of podcasts in the world.
I'll tell you, it's hard doing videos by myself sometimes. You really
Yeah,
you gotta
for
get
me,
yourself
definitely.
in that mode where it's like,
I give myself douche chills.
I
on
completely
video, like-
understand the performance art aspect when Alex Jones, brought that up and said it's performance art, because that's the only way that I'm just talking about whatever topic I'm doing a video on. He's rocking for 3 to 4 hours every day.
Yep.
Like, there is a part of that it's like, you gotta
You're Ed
be
Sullivan at that
performing.
point.
Like,
Yeah.
it's, I think of it where it's like,
I spent a week with Alex, so I don't know. A lot of it is real, unfortunately.
but I think,
I don't know what you mean.
I think it's like a matter of like, there's the personality that is, me or Alex Jones or something like that. But then when you get in front of the mic and the camera, it's almost like you get a concentrate version of it.
Right.
Where it's like them cranked up to 10 or 11.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm sure that is who Alex Jones is, but I think there's a certain liveliness that's brought to it when the camera's on.
Right.
Like,
Can you teach me next week how you set yours up?
yeah,
So I can
sure.
record my Facebook chat. I can't fit it. I owe you a big apology all the times I called you a dick for fucking it up or taking ages. It isn't actually that easy. I can't even fucking do it.
Yeah,
So,
and sometimes
it's
it's
a lot
just,
easier than what it is.
sometimes it's just a matter of, you plug something in and it sets something else to a default and then everything gets screwy, and yeah, I can walk you through it. That's not a problem. So, since it's, first podcast of the new year, what do we think of the first year of Trump?
I think it's a racist, isn't he? I mean, how dare he?
Because of those shithole countries.
Did he
London's
say
a
that?
shithole.
Did he say shithole countries to refer to?
I don't think he really did, but I wish he did.
Shit.
I wish he said it to London, said I'm not going to.
Shithole countries.
Yeah.
Oh my
Because
god!
if
What the?
cans running it, knife attacks and
the rumor-
I would have done a cartwheel if I heard the words over CNN or one of these.
the
stations.
rumor-
Shithole countries.
the rumor
he says,
is-
I would have done a cartwheel.
That's why I showed you that meme of the guy with the 2 buttons being like, those countries aren't shitholes and we can't send illegal immigrants back because their countries are shitholes. Because it's so funny because they're trying to attack him with this lie. He said he didn't say it and he says it's taken out of context. They're trying to attack him over it.
Right.
And yet it makes the perfect like argument for everything because it's the idea, like it says, that Democrats always say you can't send people back to their home countries
Why not? Because it's a shithole.
because it's a shithole, yeah. And now everyone's trying to defend these countries, saying they aren't shitholes. Yeah, I heard her. Saying they aren't shitholes, so it's like, okay, why can't we send them back then? Like
I'll
it's
tell you something. That I'm turning like this is. I don't know. I'm gonna come across as such a racist. But when I was at this guy's house, this genuinely happened, and I had post-traumatic stress disorder from it. Like, seriously, I got post-traumatic stress disorder from it. We were listening to like a podcast. This rapper's on it, and this rapper's going, "Oh yeah, I fucked my wife. She's fucked. We had a baby. That baby got murdered. And then when that baby got murdered, like she wouldn't come back to me, and I've got this other wife. She left me, so I gave this other woman STD. You know, if women don't like abortions and STDs, you know, they ain't bitches." And everyone on the podcast was clapping. And then about half an hour later in the podcast, they went to the dude. They went, "Oh, why do you think your life turned out like this?" And he goes, "My son's with hoes. He does coke, and it's probably, you know, it's probably them white people's fault. It's those Trump supporters." Now we see it. I'm like, and then. The people in the room are going, "Oh yeah. See, Trump's racist." I was like, dude, he gave an exact explanation as to why the black community's failed. And
Well-
they didn't need any help from the KKK. They didn't need any help from white people. He did it all by himself.
Yeah. Well, you want to hear
And
something
you're
funny?
laughing at him that his kid's murdered. He's laughing about it, and that he's going to go after another kid. I'm turning into Mary Sanger now. He needs to be fucking sterilized now.
You know,
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
hear something funny? I was telling
Seriously,
Brett.
I had post-traumatic stress. It's like the evidence is right in front
Right
of
there.
you. What's
Yeah.
the problems?
It's
And then they go, "Well, ignore that. It must be Trump."
That's a
It's
guilty verdict just spread
Well,
right out in front of you.
Now listen to this. I had it where people I'm friends with on Facebook, Will Smith just had this new movie come out on Netflix, right? Bright. And I guess it has all sorts of, you know, it's like the first time the police department allowed an alien to be a police officer. So it's all this sort of, you know, racial oppressive
I haven't
narrative and everything like that. Black people, because they aren't not only like you're describing a lack of self-awareness, unfortunately, and again I'm speaking generally, obviously not all,
hashtag not
hashtag not all, but you know, there's a lack of self-awareness and a lack of just awareness of society in general, where these people were inventing this grand conspiracy theory that Will Smith's movie about oppression was kept out of the theaters and sent to Netflix because of lack of funding. And it's like,
it's not that deep.
This movie got $100 million to be made specifically for Netflix because the movie industry is collapsing. Like, it was...
It's where everybody's going.
It's only thumbs up and green lights, and yet these people, because they don't understand the change in culture, they're imagining a racist conspiracy that Will Smith is actually being oppressed by his movie going to Netflix. And it's like, you guys are insane.
In fact, he's being liberated by going to
yeah,
Netflix.
yeah, it's
He
like,
has
this is a come
way
up.
more creative...
This is a come up.
So
And,
much more scary when you're actually there and it's people you know.
huh?
And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Right.
Over and over and over. And then one cool rapper goes, "It's all white people." So they go, "Yeah, it is." And they start going, "Yeah, it all goes down to slavery." And it's like, dude, I spent a week talking to you about slavery, and you wouldn't read any of the documents. You still won't read it. You keep telling me I'm wrong. You won't say why I'm wrong. Just call me a racist all the time.
Well, and here's the funny
Like,
thing.
you try being Irish in a slave trade, dude.
There's this guy I was going to interview from around here because he wrote a book, and
It wasn't about race. It was about whoever could. They would take slaves from wherever they could. That was the whole point.
yeah.
It was
about labor. It was about free labor, and that was about it. There's this guy.
Will Smith movie.
It was just the way you see it in the podcast. It was like, my life's fucked up, all these things happened, and it's like they're making it sound like KKK's hiding behind every bush out to attack.
Yeah. Well, there was even this guy I was going to interview, a guy from the area. He wrote a book, and I was like, hey, man, I have a platform. I'll interview you about the book. Do what I can. Huh?
Right, right.
No, Corey Porter.
Right.
And he was posting online after, the rumor about the shithole countries thing, and he's like, if you, didn't vote because you didn't want Hillary, you supported Trump by inadvertently, and you're responsible for this. And you have
hang on, who fucked up Haiti in the first place?
I didn't like either one of them.
Well, you had tons of people from the area that I didn't expect to even be this in tune with things say, that's fake news, Trump didn't say that, and you are helping him out by reporting this false shit and making a big deal out of it. Well, I brought in the fact where I said, listen, man, if we're going and we're taking the best and brightest people from Africa, Mexico, India, all the hardest working, the best and brightest, what sort of shape do you think that's going to leave those countries in?
Right. Yeah, shout out to Corey Porter, by the way.
It's like you don't realize, like, this idea only works out for America. We're a brain drain on the...
If they go back home again.
Well, yeah, if they go back home, then it's good. But the whole point is this whole, we need to keep everyone here. That's the Democrat argument, that it's immoral to send people back and they should just be able to stay. And it's like, they could do a lot more to benefit where they're at, where they came from, than here. Like, they just don't want to see that there's multiple sides to this argument, and it's not as simple as shithole countries, he's a racist, blah, blah, blah. In fact, what's really funny? The guy, JP...
When black employment's the highest it's ever been.
Huh?
And he's a racist whilst he makes black unemployment the lowest it's ever been.
Yeah, 17-year low.
That's a success.
And here's the thing Trump always said.
That's a success.
He said, when we can bring the jobs back...
Racist, dude. How dare you, bro?
When we can bring the jobs back and black people and white people are working side by side with one another, they'll realize there's no difference. We both got to get up in the morning. We both got to go to work. We both got to feed our families. We both got to... Yeah. And he knows that racism will disintegrate when people are working side by side together. That's why his whole focus was the economy. And like you said, black unemployment, 17-year low. Obama didn't do that.
That's humongous considering all the factories that closed down at one point where you had a lot of black families that needed that money.
Trying to
they
shut
needed
down
those
coal.
jobs. They needed those jobs. And the fact that, there's a spike in the actual employment rate.
You know what the crazy
even after
thing
all
is?
the major car companies and everyone had practically packed up and left.
Think about
Oprah will fix it.
Think about, I'll get into her in a minute, but think about how the Democrats are playing black people with this racism accusation where they have black people with this knee-jerk reaction about, oh, illegal immigrants, that's brown people, they're a racist, and the illegal immigrants take the majority of jobs from low-income black families. So it hurts black people economically to keep the immigrants here. But as long as they say, oh, well, this person just doesn't want them here because they're a racist, they're going to oppose it and essentially hurt themselves financially because they don't understand the big picture. They're just told race is the epicenter of everything.
Because it's the political asterisk.
But
it's
Oprah,
really easy.
let's talk about her real quick.
What's up with Oprah? Like, because I keep hearing Oprah this, Oprah that. What did she do? What did Oprah do?
2020.
Well, she gave this speech.
Oh no, she's running for president. Sorry.
She gave this speech that people are hoping is the start of a presidential speech, and it was basically just sounds like something Hillary would have said on the campaign. Like, she must have hired the campaign writer, and like I was telling you earlier, it's perfect propaganda, because let me get into how she did this. She came out and she first said, this reminds me, of when I first saw a first black person get this award. And now there's going to be a little girl at home who's going to be inspired by me being the first black woman doing this.
Nothing wrong with that.
And they're also going to be inspired by the Me Too movement, because us women, we're no longer standing for sexual assault, and we're here, you know,
so
making
she volleyed
a difference.
it into there.
And we're on the come up, we're kicking the guys' asses, and women run things.
Which is cool. Women, cool.
So she did this whole rah-rah, you know, up the morale of women,
right on.
Vagina power, that whole bit. And then
right.
it segues into this story about this black woman who died 4 days or so before the her speech, which now is great if you're a speechwriter, because this gives something to the media to then go into, dig into, bring it back to the speech so they can talk about the speech. They can talk about the story in it.
So they can look into the woman.
Yes.
The history.
But here's the thing. She goes on this speech about this girl who was gang raped by 4 guys and left by the side of the road and everything like that. And then tries to compare it to the quid pro quo, women getting groped in Hollywood and ending up being multi-millionaires out of it. And that's where it's like, did you really? Did you really just equate Jennifer Lawrence having Harvey Weinstein be a sleazebag to gang raped and left for dead? Because she's a millionaire. She is super famous. She's sitting here in I mean, to talk about how disconnected Hollywood is.
Like it's a luxury to get. It's not like it's a luxury to get raped, but
that's all that speech showed me, is they are still completely disconnected to the point where they think what they've had to go through is equivalent to being gang raped and left for dead on the side of the road. Like, get the fuck over yourselves. And Seal came out and called Oprah out on it, where he said,
did he really?
What was the term? Sanctimonious Hollywood was his term. He said they're sanctimonious, where he said she has been serving up girls, you know, to Harvey Weinstein for 20 years, and then comes out and say, I didn't know what was going on. Me too. Us women are here now.
Isn't her company partly owned by Weinstein?
Probably.
Yeah.
He probably made her.
No, what? He has definite. Yeah, he's definitely like.
He's worked
related
with her.
Yeah. You know, and I get it. Like, as soon as the cat comes out the bag, you don't want to be on the losing side. You don't want to be, like, on the side that says, yeah, I was rocking with this guy that did X, Y, and Z. It's like, you want to be like, no, that motherfucker did that. Blah, 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 blah,
yeah.
blah. Like, but nonetheless, you know.
But still, it's you know, it shows how disingenuous they are.
Of course.
And I mean, the speech really just sounded, the reason why people think it's her, you know, starting a presidential bid, like Lionel said, it's a work. Like, it's like pro wrestling, where it's just her helping out her brand. But it sounded like a Hillary speech.
I think Mayweather needs to run for president.
Floyd Mayweather?
Yeah, I'd vote for him in a minute.
Paul, did you hear about Floyd Mayweather?
I can't remember now. He said something about the Me Too nonsense.
This might be blasphemous, but if he ran for president, he'd get my vote.
Paul Mayweather, or not Paul Mayweather, Floyd Mayweather. I'm mixing you two up now. Floyd Mayweather got asked.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah, he got asked about the Me Too movement, and he was like, I don't know about you, but when people, my Me Too movement is like, when people are like, I drive a Rolls Royce, I'm like, me too. They're like, I got a private jet. I'm like, I got 2. Me too. Like, I'm a millionaire. Me too.
Me too. I got 2. Oh wait, what was the one? Oh yeah,
the private jet.
I have a private jet. Oh yeah, me too. I got 2.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Has he been told off for that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's getting the reamed out for it, Paul.
All by a bunch of social justice warriors who just can't believe that he made a joke out of their whole...
And he honestly didn't know. He thought Me Too was literally that. He was like, me too. I'm successful. I'm a brother. Me too. Like, that was all it was. Like...
Jamie, I sent you the best news article of the year.
Let me check it out.
That right? It is.
If it's coming from Paul, you know it's...
kicked off a debate.
Oh, I mean...
BBC about whether it's discriminatory to refuse to date with a transphobic person.
Well, you had it with
What?
Are you looking at it? Open a link I just sent.
Yeah, you had it with
fuck?
the singer Genuine, where he got in trouble being on a reality show because he didn't want to date a trans or kiss a trans person, and they all were like, "I can't believe it," you know, this and that, and it's funny because, you know, people were saying this is going to be a compulsion. It was like the thing on the gay dating app Grindr, where people tried to say if you express a racial preference, you're a racist. Where it's
this
like,
is how the debate went. It went like this. A woman went, "Would you go for transsexual women?" And the other woman goes, "I believe if it's your choice, I would choose not to." And the other woman said,
"Oh yeah, this is about Genuine."
Wait, Genuine turned down a trans woman?
Yeah.
It's the most ridiculous thing.
It's Genuine. You know he's gonna turn you down if you're trans. Like, he wants to ride the pony.
the
He doesn't
BBC.
want to ride the donkey.
This isn't Snoops. This is like the BBC. This is like our national broadcast.
Yeah.
My saddle is waiting, riding my pony. Yeah, he's talking about my pony. He doesn't want another pony on top of the pony.
Don't you love how it's the sort of fringe element
fuck?
of the sexual preference liberation movement?
I love women!
That's now telling people you're not allowed to have a preference. Like, it gets so backwards.
Here's my preference. I love women. I like boobs, and I like butt,
Yeah,
and a
it's like-
cute face.
It's
Sorry.
It's a bad thing. Like, I'm discriminatory against Nazis.
And I even like thick women. I like skinny women.
Cancer.
All types of women. Don't matter. You got your thick, your beautiful face. You're a beautiful woman. What the fuck?
Yeah.
And this was, did you see in the Metro, they had in the London paper all the sexualization of children, that manual they put out.
Yeah, I heard about that. Wasn't there something too where there was something coming out encouraging sex toys for children? Was that the thing?
Oh no.
Yeah. London paper, the free paper, yeah.
Yeah.
For children,
Yep.
I would kill.
I'll tell you,
Fuck out of
it's
here.
been in the UN for a while now. They passed this
For
to
children,
say
sex
that it
toys.
was
I'll
for.
kill the motherfucker who says that.
They said it was an act against female, genital mutilation, but the wording of it was vague enough that it gave sexual rights to children, and basically said that they're allowed to make sexual decisions at any age. So there's been
What,
this
that they
want to
poop in the garden and pee by the tree? Because that's what the sexual thought extent that I had as a child. Why am I going to
Right.
poop and pee, and what girl do I not like because they have cooties?
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's that stuff, I'll tell you. I was talking to Dan about it last night, where I was teaching him about cultural Marxism, and he didn't understand the merger of the left and Islam, and he was like, why is it propagate Islam instead of like Buddhism or any other religion? And I'm like, because Islam is the one that wants to tear down the West. Like, that's the commonality between the left.
The enemy of my enemy is my
That's
friend.
exactly what I said. That's exactly what I said to him. I said, it's an enemy of my enemy is a friend. I said, Dave Horowitz was saying this since the 60s, and even the conspiracy theorists thought he was crazy with that one, because that just seemed a little too far to say the liberals were going to merge with radical Islam, which is essentially conservative Islam.
Yeah.
In regards to their religion, we want it to the letter.
Right.
Sharia, whatever.
We say you step on this stone at this hour of this day,
and I told him,
step on that fucking stone, or you're dead.
It's so amazing.
Better,
it's so amazing to think that there's this revolution going on in Iran right now, where women are taking off their hijabs and revolting against the radicalist regime or whatever. And meanwhile,
taking off the face gear?
Yeah, taking off the burqas and the hijabs and all that. And meanwhile, in America, you have a women's march where the face of female liberation is like a Muslim in an American flag hijab, and they're trying to say that Islam is feminism and that the hijab and the burqa are empowerment. It's like so warped where it's like, no, actually over there, they're tearing these things off as protest.
It would be empowerment if that was like fucking stood against, and then they decided to retreat back to the hijab as a Renaissance type thing to like bring back the core values of things.
Yeah, but it
would
not.
Be rebellious.
Well, yeah, it would be like, you know, if you had a society of nowadays where things were over-sexualized and women decided to cover up as a, you know, let me rebel against the over-sexualization. I mean, the thing is, you know, if you want to live in a free civilization, like, everyone will probably gravitate towards the middle, and there will be a few outliers on each end, you know.
We're like, I don't mind seeing people walk around naked, and then the other side says,
it's kind of like
your ass up.
Kind of like, think about it like this. Once it became, you know, tattoos got normalized to the point where your school teachers started to have them. That's when it was like, all right, well, now we got to start tattooing our eyes and, like, you know, let me implant horns into my head.
Meanwhile, that used to be an indication in the mental health system
illness
of mental illness, right or wrong, which it probably was wrong because, you know, a lot of it is flawed. But a lot of people used to base diagnoses off of whether or not they had fucking shit written on their half of their face.
Yeah.
Or shit pierced into it. It's just history.
Well, they say...
Gem.
Huh?
I've sent you another gem.
Okay, let me check it.
You've probably seen this one.
Somebody's...
always like to fall in love with your brother. From Good Housekeeping magazine. It's okay to fuck your brother, people.
Ooh, you're breaking up, brother.
It's because I'm going into articles.
Oh, I see.
That happens.
Are you reading the same one I'm reading?
Yeah, I'm bringing it up. You know, people had said this when the sort of all the gay marriage stuff was kind of going on, where they were like, you know, if we're bringing everything down to consent, what's going to stop two gay men that are related, because they're not going to procreate, so will we allow them to get married?
Is this live from Onion Town?
Live from Onion. This is from goodhousekeeping.com. Like, what is... This is what it's like to fall in love with your brother. Oh, my God.
So, live from Onion Town. Just in Good Housekeeping. Onion Town is a place where this happens a lot, Paul, in New York. It's like a side road... It's a side road up in upstate New York that's blocked off that the cops won't even go on. That if you go on and you're not from it, you're going to get shot at. And it's literally something out of Deliverance, supposedly. You know, I'm not trying to speak ill of anybody who lives in it because economic...
you sound quite intolerant of it.
But it's nonetheless, they've procreated over the years, supposedly, by... You know.
Well, at least paedophilia's too taboo for the magazine. They haven't quite gone down that road yet.
A shocking revelation.
She has to meet Chris, raised to believe her mother's husband was her father. Melissa learned out that 4 decades before, her mother had an affair and became pregnant with the other man's child.
It's the most ridiculous story.
The news got even more startling. Before his affair with Melissa's mother and eventually marriage to Chris's mother, her biological father was married the first time, and Melissa had several half-siblings. It was all so crazy I was dumbfounded. My life was just exploding. After meeting Chris, the stepbrother gave her contact info to Brian, one of her half-siblings, and Brian, 45, immediately reached out to Facebook with a simple note. Well, I guess I'm your brother, he says, asking if he was doing okay with the news. I knew it was a huge, life-changing thing for her to find out. That's when things started to get weird. I remember having an immediate and intense reaction to hearing Brian's voice. I really don't know how to describe the feeling, but I was attracted to it. I thought there was something wrong with me, something isn't right. Later that night, the pair separately scrolled through each other's photos on Facebook as she looked at the images of Brian's life as a musician, friend, and husband. Unexpected feelings. I was confused. I was attracted to him. Then in bed, I was starting to have sexual fantasies. I thought there was something wrong with me. Damn right!
You're off.
2 hours away and home, he shared with his wife. Brian experienced the same thing. I was mourning my father. I was seeing her like new life, like I'm blessed to have a sister, he says. But he admits her photos made him feel very turned on. I thought I must be a sick and terrible human being. 2 2 days later, Melissa drove 2 hours during a Monday night Midwestern snowfall to meet her brother. You're nodding. When he saw him outstanding in the frigid air as his office building, she felt a connection that was instantaneous and electric. It was love at first sight. Absolutely, the craziest thing I've experienced, Melissa said. The sexual force was like a levitating off Earth. Your body instantly craves the other person.
And Maury Povich was there the whole time. Maury Povich was... Yeah, he's the voice of Maury right now.
The feeling was mutual. The pair shyly hugged, and they had trouble looking at each other, in part because it was gazing in a mirror.
This is acceptable. Why isn't Weinstein acceptable? They're both just as close.
Oh my god.
I sent another gem which kind of runs with it. Check this little baby out.
What the Jesus?
Can you see why I don't go out? A 10-year-old drag queen club.
Oh yeah.
Oh dude, yeah, that enrages me.
Have you got that Daily Mail article?
Yeah, I'm just finishing reading this where it says...
The last taboo.
She says, GSA is a misnomer, though, because attraction to relatives usually requires shared genes and not being raised together. Just because you're genetically related, it doesn't mean it will happen. This is why sexual attraction is occasionally reported in adoption reunions, some claim in as many 50% of cases. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
I mean, they say it doesn't happen a lot, and then say it was half of them? Like, come on. Oh, my God. You know, I saw a thing, too, where this kid, Lactasia or whatever, or no, this is a different fucking 10-year-old drag queen. Oh, my God. But some site was getting some flack because they were, like, plastering pictures of a little drag kid in a fucking, like, sexual-ass bodysuit all over their website. It's a fucking sick world.
Yeah, and the other thing is just to, like, make it a bit more sense, they've got transvestite sex robots now. Transgender sex robots. But it gets into paedophilia, kind of.
You know what the crazy thing is?
They can obviously make any sexual preference, anyone you want. I'm guessing they're talking about kids.
A lot of this, you know, it all makes sense when you look at Baphomet. The idea that evil is running the world and the idea of perfection is a fucking goat's head with a dick and boobs. You can just do you. Drag club.
Have you seen those women that keep going, I fuck ghosts and demons? Have you seen them crazies?
Yeah.
I wonder if you fuck a sex robot, if you could be fucking a demon. It's not a million miles away, is it?
No. Started dressing up as a toddler and began wearing dresses age 6. Appeared in a music video with RuPaul, and his performance at Gay Pride went viral. Oh my God. I hate this shit.
I sent you one more. This is crazy sexual robots.
Oh my God. A drag club where no adults are allowed. I can only imagine what's going on in there.
I'll tell you what's going on. Me going in there with a baseball bat. Getting somebody's child out of there. That's what's happening. Brett is about to be a superhero.
And Aziz Ansari is now being accused of fucking being a perv.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Who is?
He's a Middle Eastern comedian who moved over to America and is pretty relevant. He has the show Master of None.
I like that show.
Me too.
This is sick. What the fuck are we looking at here? God damn it. If somebody dressed up my nieces and nephew like this, baseball bat time. That's all there is to it. Home run derby.
Check out the next one I sent you.
And I'm a nice guy. I'll help them pick up their teeth when they're done. I'm about equal rights. I'll hit you with a couple of lefts, but I'll give you the equal right. That's all there is to that.
Here, you know what my stance on all of this stuff is, though?
Violence is mine.
It's like...
I'm kidding.
I mean, if people are just doing them and just, it's them, then that's one thing. If that's what makes this kid happy, wearing dresses, let him fucking wear dresses if that's his thing.
We all knew those kids.
But when the media starts praising it, it's funny. That one electropop act I was playing for you is a gay dude from Australia, and he just put out a video and everything, and his music is amazing. It's really, really great, kind of like electro dream pop type stuff.
Right.
I mean, I love the music, love the production, but his videos, because he's unabashedly gay, that's all they talk about. Where, I mean, it's like a music video and two guys touching it, and they're like, "This is groundbreaking," and it's like, no, it's not. It's
the Pet Shop Boys were doing that.
Pet Shop Boys, George Michael, Boy George, even. This
done that.
This has been going on since the '80s, and you are overlooking this guy's musical.
Try grabbing a pussy for a change.
Right? Try grabbing a pussy. Overlooking this guy's musical talent to just be like, boys touching. Groundbreaking. This is amazing. And it's like, in the same article, it had a part about a girl who did a video with some lesbian shit on it. And before they got into talking about how it's gonna change the world, they had to do a whole paragraph of caveats being like, well, I know Madonna and Christina Aguilera kissed and Britney Spears, and there's been girl on girl in music videos since the beginning of music videos, but this is different, and this is gonna change the world because Trump's in office and LGBT, and it's like,
that's the media go-to. That is the media go-to. That it's a quick, easy media. It's the fast.
It's not that
literally
deep.
It's literally the drive-through for the media to be able to touch on. It's like, all right, what can we cash in
something
on
relevant? Mention Trump.
Boom, hit that.
Oppression.
Right. Thank you. How much was my order?
Yeah.
All right, there you go. We're out.
Trump derangement syndrome is now leaked into music video reviews.
Big time. Because it's a quick, easy fix. It's
transgender sex
and
robots.
Every adjective in the world you could throw in it. It's a writer's dream. You don't have to focus too much. You just be like, this insensitive, disingenuous adjective after adjective after progressive, progressive.
Hold on, this is my favorite thing. All right. Realbotics has told The Sun that there's a big market for transgender sex bots.
Well, you've gone too far. Hang on. The first one is it's like transgender sex robots for any sexual preference at the end.
But
so what are they hinting at?
Listen to this. But trans activists warns over risks of sexualizing trans people. Now, here's a funny thing. Because I'm right next to a college.
Haven't they already done that themselves?
If I go on any of these dating apps, there's all these fucking weirdos from the local liberal arts school. I remember seeing one where it was like this Asian chick who identifies as a dude, and it's like Asian, trans, something or other, and it's like, but don't fetishize the fact that I'm Asian, trans, and this, and that. It's like,
you already put the label out.
It's like, what sort of ego
you marginalized yourself
narcissist are you, where you're like, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this,
but don't
find me attractive because of this. Otherwise, you're oppressing me. It's like, you fucking go.
They tried to protest something and they shot down their own protest before it began. So they fucked themselves in theory.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. Dan actually showed me this little meme where it was like two circles and a square in the wall, and it's like the person being like, how can I fit through the circle? I'm a square. And the other people being like, oh, it's fine, just do this, and that. And it's like, you don't accept me for who I am afterwards, after the person's complaining about being, where it's, it's kind of mocking these people, where it's like, you're claiming this is your identity and it's factored against you. Then when someone says, no, it's not a problem, you then say they're not respecting you, or, some nonsense, where it's like, you just can't win.
But then if they say what one of your labels are, hashtags are, however you look at it, then you can call them out for marginalizing you.
Yeah,
Or
basically,
pigeonholing you. Yeah.
Yeah, where
Well,
it's like,
it's
I
a
want to be
perfect
known by this,
setup.
but if you know, it's almost like the thing where people go like, you can see a Jewish-run publication being like, yeah, Jews run Hollywood, we've run it since the
Right.
start, we run it now, we're going to run it forever, and we run it because we're good at it. And then if someone goes, yeah, Jews run Hollywood, they're like, you anti-Semite? That's a stereotype. How dare you? And it's like, no, they're bragging about it with themselves.
With
like,
themselves.
I'm not a racist for acknowledging what they brag about accomplishing.
Do you know that, like, one of my favorite people, who I won't say who he is, but works in our local area, is an incredibly gifted and celebrated and successful man in the community who has a construction company, a restaurant, several things. He has even admitted himself, and he's a Jewish Orthodox male. He admitted, he's like, do you know how I got this money? He said it straight up. I'm Jewish, I'm Orthodox, and I stick to this plan.
Yep.
And I'm like, you gotta respect that. Like, he said it straight out. Like,
You should have converted, you dickhead.
what's that?
You should have converted.
He should have converted?
There and then.
He
yeah.
attributed his success to Judaism.
That's
Yeah, right, hook me up, dude. Give me some of this cash.
he didn't know that's actually white privilege.
Maybe that's what he was really saying.
And he's also opening up jobs for a lot of people in the area. So he's a good guy.
Well, you know, people have said for a while that if the
What
these are the transgender sex robots, I guess.
That is scary.
Yeah, it looks like a chick, but it's got a dick.
Oh, God.
You get one of these dolls because what you were saying earlier, where women just go out dressed with nothing on. The reason they do that is because that's the only thing they've got to offer now. It's got to that stage now.
It's
where
got
they're
it.
attractive. That's it. That's why it's on display so much because that's the only way they can get attention now. It's just by wearing nothing.
Well, and you know why that
So-
is? It's because they've been focused so long on being equal to men, and if you're equal to me, what do you have to offer me?
Right.
They didn't realize they were.
Yeah, why don't you just get robots? The robots are looking quite hot now.
Yeah.
Because you may as well. What's the difference between some of these women I meet and a robot?
Not much.
Not too terribly much, unfortunately. It's
Hell, the robot, if they run
The
some
dialogue is
AI in
almost
its
the same.
brain, yeah, if they load Siri or Alexa into one of those robots, the robot would probably be a lot smarter than the chick real quick.
you know what?
Yeah, you can use it for a punch bag when you finish.
You know what? I'll say this. Like, I'm not trying to be misogynistic or hedonistic or whatever male fucking shit you could throw on it.
Burn him.
I'm not making. I love women. I respect women like my mother. There are sisters. There are cousins. There are daughters. There are everything. I love women. I love women. But I have gone out. I've been out and about, and I've been in pursuit of women, and it's the dialogue is almost the same, and I'm just pointing that out when it comes to being like, hey, what do you do? Yep. How are you doing? Boop boop. And you try to find the jewel in the midst of them that's unique, and a lot of times it's uniform.
Yeah.
And I'm not meaning that disrespectfully or at all. It's just I think they're trained to go out like
You
that.
know what the other thing is, and I think it's sort of a an aspect of, you know, there's a dynamic between men and women where it's like, you know, like men build
Right.
the house, women fill the house.
Right.
You know, that sort of thing where, like, you know, I would see it even with my last ex where, like, you know, when we were together, she listened to all the same music I did. As soon as we broke up and she got a new boyfriend, her whole music collection turned
Switched
to
up.
country.
Yeah.
And I just looked and I'm like, do you have your own personality or are you just reflecting whoever you're with? But it's, again, that sort of, like, vapid nature where it's like, I'm hollow and the man can just sort of fill whatever.
And I've had it in the reverse where when I was growing up, I was 15 years old and I was dating like an 18, 19, 20-year-old chick who was cool, was like quote unquote hipster before it was even hip, and I took a lot of notes from her. So that when she dumped me when I was a senior in high school and she was like a second year in college, it was devastating to me because I was like, shit, like literally this person has taught me everything of how I should dress, of how I should do this, what smells good on me, what what I listen to that's cool.
That's another one of the dynamics.
And
they
then
say
I took
women
it-
are there to civilize men.
Yep, and then from there on out, I took a lot of my niches and stuff like that from her in terms of deciding who next I would possibly date, because I was like, she taught me what was cool because she was way older. Now that I got that to that age of, it was weird, totally weird.
Yeah, women are supposed to civilize men. That's their purpose. For the most part.
So you guys have to come out in England one time. See how
I'd
bad it is.
love to see London.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to the East. Are you by the way, I hate to bring this up. Are you a football fan?
Nah, not really.
Well,
I'm probably the only person that isn't.
you're probably one of the only guys over there that isn't.
That isn't, yeah.
No
so,
shit.
Yeah. I don't know anything about it. Why do you watch it?
I do.
Do you?
Pretty regularly too, and I watch one of the worst teams over there.
Which one?
It's the one that's been popularized in American media, which I knew about before there was even a movie that popularized them.
What, Manchester United?
West Ham.
Oh, really?
They're one of the, and I can self-admit that they're terrible, but they just beat Huddersfield like yesterday pretty badly, but they got popularized in the States after Elijah Wood was in some fucking movie, Green Street.
Yeah, they are kind of cool in a way.
Yeah,
aren't they?
over here they're like, yeah, it's West Ham or Manchester. Or Tottenham. Tottenham big time over here.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a relief to meet somebody that isn't in the mix of that. Because
I like playing football.
what's that?
I like playing the game.
Oh, it's I couldn't possibly even keep up with it. It's so strategic and quick. I've gotten slide tackled into oblivion. I'm a good goalie. I'm an excellent goalie, and even then I'll get a concussion somehow.
Should we talk about something really crazy?
Sure.
What's up?
Have you seen all that stuff about Tom DeLonge and his space?
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't go into it right now.
He was a sucker. He bought into some shit. It's like he signed up for the Weekly World News and thought it was the New York Times. That's what happened. That's what happened. And it's sad because I probably would have been him if they even like concentrated on me like that. Like, yes, Tom, we have these files for you, and you're rich, so here you go.
Yeah, did you see, there's a video, I think Mouthy Buddha did it, about Tom DeLonge and everything, where he basically says how NASA and all these groups have agencies and agents where if there's someone who's investigating this stuff and, thinks they're seeing things like UFOs and everything, sometimes they'll plug them into the people, and the people will just sort of tell them they're seeing what they want to see,
Right.
and run them in circles till they go nuts.
Just keep giving them misinformation.
And there was a guy that they did that to specifically who's like well known because of this. And a lot of people think that that's what's going on with Tom DeLonge right now.
Guaranteed.
Where DeLonge was real interested in this stuff, and now they're just using him as a CIA NASA mouthpiece
Poor
for
guy.
disinfo.
Poor guy.
Did you see Mirage, man, that film where it's about an actual CIA agent who does that? He goes around misleading all the UFO people.
Yep.
You've seen that?
That's a great one.
And then he comes clean at the end, and they're convinced that because he's come clean now, it's because
I think that's the guy I'm
he's trying to
talking
cover up for all
about.
the information he gave.
Yeah.
us. Yeah, probably is.
Yeah, that movie's based on the guy I was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, it's such a clever film because even when he comes clean, that
still don't-
puts him bigger in the rabbit hole. It's like, oh, he's only telling me that, so all the evidence he gave me, like people would discredit it,
Right.
just to cover up what the information he gave me, like telling me he works for the CIA. It's like, no, dude, I actually do work.
Yep. It checks out.
It's so clever. Yeah.
That is a brilliant film. It's and
I haven't seen it.
a lot, and that's happened so many times with even just the most minuscule of things, like even just people investigating like organized crime units in South Boston. If you look at it, how much misinformation they use to get information on Whitey Bulger. Are you familiar with Whitey Bulger, Paul?
No, I never heard of it. No.
Whitey Bulger was a South Boston, Massachusetts gangster who he was at Alcatraz. Basically, his resume was amazing, criminal-wise, bank robber. He came to South Boston after being in Alcatraz and actually being in the, what was it called? What was the LSD experiments called?
Oh, I forget the name of them.
He did it 50 times just so it would reduce his time. And he went into great detail. He was like, you know what, when I get out, I'm going to have a do-good image. Went to South Boston. Basically linked up with the FBI, gave them information to bust the Italian mafia.
The Departed is loosely based
on it, yep. And Black Mass covers it almost perfectly. Because if you ever want to see a great movie that's based on that situation, Black Mass is the most accurate. But he gave them misinformation for the longest time while he went and got the lion's share of everything in South Boston. And then he got tipped off by FBI before they were coming to indict him. And he, like, booked it for about, 12 years on the run from the FBI. Second to Bin Laden on the FBI most wanted list. Like, Whitey Bulger, he did that, not glorifying that, but nonetheless, like, his run was basically indicative of, like, how misinformation can be used, and actually it was used in the wrong hands, and it actually led to him prolonging his capture, and he used the FBI as his puppet.
Yeah. With
misinformation, and the ATF and multiple other American organizations. Whitey Bulger. What a motherfucker. I'm surprised he's still alive. I'm surprised nobody's offed him. But
grab him by the pussy.
Have you watched any cool stuff recently? Anything cool going on at the moment on TV?
Black Mirror.
I'm laughing. I know it's boring as fuck. I'm laughing hunting Hitler.
What is hunting Hitler?
I haven't seen any of the new season.
In the old ones though.
Yeah, I've seen some of the. Yeah, it's when they go down to like Argentina and find all these like German-speaking towns that Nazis relocated to, and like little, like wooden or brick houses set up in the middle of like South American jungles for like filled with just old Nazi memorabilia and stuff that you can tell they were posted up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's kind of a cool motif.
Yeah, I think it's funny that no one, all the claims that Trump is a Nazi, no one ended up because of the, in the JFK files, there's like thing about the FBI knowing Hitler was still alive in there, and no one picked up on it.
I had a photo of it.
Yeah, the photo. They have a photo of him in
Someone-
South America.
I'm a little iffy about the South American photo, because
Yeah, me too.
I'm a little iffy on it. I mean, theoretically, I know what it means. I know what it implies. But the legitimacy of the actual photo...
Well, they know he didn't die when they said he did.
Right. I mean, and that's pretty common when it came to, like, a lot of people that they would take out. Like, they would announce one time when it's entirely different from when they actually put a bullet in the guy's head.
There were Pakistani intelligence and all these other countries were like, they got Bin Laden on ice, they'll roll him out when it's advantageous to them. And we did. Like, we didn't show anyone. We were like, yeah, we threw him in the water.
We came in there with silent helicopters to do that. Like,
it's an Islamic burial. Yeah, they were watching from the war room. Oh, wait, there was no feed. Yeah, there was a feed. There was no feed.
There was a couple hicks from down south who were just down for anything. They were just like, yeah, woo! Bin Laden?
I don't know. I don't think that they took him out at all, because everyone they said involved with they took all of them out. Like, they threw them all on an old rickety helicopter and just blew that shit out of the sky. And they were like, all right, now everyone we said was involved, they can't talk.
Right.
So, I don't think... I think he had died of natural causes, and we just spin the narrative however it works for us.
There's a great possibility that he did, because given
he was on dialysis.
Yeah, so the question
that's
always
kind of
on my
difficult to
lips.
have in a
What the fuck did they blow up that night?
What was that?
What the fuck did they blow up that night? That's what I want to know.
Where?
Because during the Bin Laden raid, obviously something went down, but what actually went down?
A helicopter.
Well, no, that was like a week after, so they blew up the helicopter.
No, but they must have, when they attacked the building with Bin Laden in, like, what was actually going on in that building? Bin Laden wasn't there.
I don't know. Maybe nothing.
Good question.
Who knows? Maybe the whole story
Because
starts finishes.
That night.
Right. Oh no, definitely some.
Confirmed
There
by
was
that
crossfire that night.
Or they could have just taken out like a body double that had been, posted up. Have either of you guys seen the movie? Maybe it's The Devil's Son or something like that. It's a movie about a guy who was hired to be the body double of Saddam Hussein's son. And when you're the son of like a Middle Eastern dictator, you're basically like a prince with the mind of the Joker.
Right.
So just imagine that. Like, I mean, you're talking the most insane, degenerative, violent, like just madman, like showing up to a woman's wedding and taking the woman from her husband and raping her on her wedding night. Like, that type of shit. And this guy, who's just a no-name guy from the village, had to impersonate that.
Oh, gosh.
To be his body double. Yeah, it's a real interesting movie. I'm pretty sure it's called The Devil's Son or something like that.
I have to check that out.
But yeah, it's about one of Saddam's son's body doubles and the shit he had to deal with in being the body double. And they told him, if you weren't, we're just going to kill you.
Do you know what Saddam's favorite movie was?
What?
Scarface.
I'm not surprised.
That was his favorite movie. In fact, when they went into his palace, he had Scarface memorabilia.
He's got a house like a gangster rapper.
And his second favorite movie was The Godfather, because he felt like he was Marlon Brando in The Godfather with the country. That he loved American Italian gangster films like.
You know where Saddam used to keep all his alcohol and his wine?
Where?
In Iraq.
No.
Well, that good is it, I guess. Okay.
Sorry about that. Somebody asking if I had a cab.
No, it's all good.
Yeah, I've been talking about the hunting Hitler quite a lot. Like when I talk to my friends about it, they just look at me as if I'm crazy.
I'm curious
going,
to see what it's
no,
like.
Paul, Hitler's dead, and I was like, no.
Is it
Like obviously he's dead now, but
Yeah.
is it at least interesting in the Indiana Jones?
they 100%
Yeah.
find
That's,
him.
that's
They 100% find him. I'm convinced.
Because if it's like Indiana Jonesian, I'll go with it. I like it.
Yeah, but with technology, they 100% find him. I'm pretty convinced they found him.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious that, a lot of the top brass, if they didn't get...
You would think that would be the biggest news ever.
Oh, yeah.
Tim Kennedy finds Hitler.
That would go down, like, in every single newspaper within the first 5 minutes of that happening. Like...
You do see it, but it's kind of gradually been brought into, like, this is the accepted norm now that Hitler did actually escape.
Yeah.
Right. That's the
But the
narrative.
reason they don't want to put it out there, I mean, there is the convenience of, like, just tying up the war at the time.
Right.
But it's going to get down to how did he actually get out.
Right, because it was physically
And it's
impossible.
going to come down to the British help, the Spanish help, like a lot of people that were supposed
Somebody
to be enemies
inside
probably helped them.
had to
Yeah.
have pulled a...
They all turned a blind eye.
they had to have...
No,
That's
that's
the
what
only
happened.
way.
The British helped him.
That's the only way, because he was in such a corner that there was no way you
Gave
could
him
make it out.
supplements.
There was no way you could make it out. Even somebody who was on the inside probably would have shot him. There was so much incentive, even if you were in on the jokes, to kill him, because of just how much there was in a wealth of stuff behind him.
Yeah.
Even if he was a stupid, kind of crazy motherfucker, there was still a wealth of stuff that stood in his bunkers, that stood in his storage spaces. That
Yeah.
there was too much. There was so much.
I mean, they were looting all sorts of art from all the fucking places they,
Oh, yeah.
Shit from Napoleon.
Yeah.
He had artifacts from when Napoleon was at Waterloo. Like, what? Like, how did you get that without even... You had to have talked to somebody from either one of those areas or something like that to negotiate that or make that possible, which is crazy.
It is so incredible. That guy's still hanging around.
I know. Adolf, yeah, that's crazy.
He's probably got kids then.
Well, I remember Cans told me he saw footage of some German politician at the UN
Oh, yeah.
talk about her being Adolf's daughter and how she was here to finish his legacy and stuff, as far as in the European Union and everything like. So I mean, I think there are.
And she was apologetic for the war stuff.
Yeah, I forget who it was, but I'm pretty sure there is someone who claims she's like a descendant of him.
Which is like
He had
insane.
he's meant to have a son called Jean-Marie Loret.
Because he killed a lot of his descendants.
Really?
He died quite recently. His death came out when he was dead.
Yep.
Mm.
I didn't know about a daughter though. I'm gonna check that out.
I thought he had killed a lot of his own family because at one point he had gotten so paranoid that he thought his own...
Wouldn't it be funny if it was Merkel?
If it was what?
Angela
Merkel.
Merkel. It might be. Who knows? I mean, there are people who think, Bush's wife is like one of Crowley's kids.
Jesus.
No, they did have an affair. That is documented.
Is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
Crowley
Got
and...
documented.
Wow.
Happened in France.
That dude was like drinking blood and then boning you. Like,
Yeah, don't you when she was on that Talk Time great TV show, and she was with her son, and she brought up the fetus she keeps in her cupboard, the unborn child she had in a cupboard.
that's rather
yeah.
That's rather macabre right there.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
You seen that?
Yeah.
You not seen it? That's so cool. And then did you see Hillary Clinton's daughter was having tweets going back and forth between her and the Church of Satan?
Yeah, Chelsea Clinton tweeting the church. Well, it was funny. The one day, I was going down. I was going down the what is it?
Yes, you did.
QAnon rabbit hole. I was searching all those Twitter hashtags.
Tell me about that.
Huh?
I don't know anything about it really. I want to hear it.
All right. And this ties into that other stuff.
Give me 2 minutes.
Let me try to go on that for a minute and try to do it justice. QAnon is basically someone with high intelligence knowledge who's posting on 4chan. They know so much that some people even think it's Trump himself. And he's going on these message boards and very kind of coded, laying things out. Like, you'll see planes being turned around. There's going to be a big pedophile, moves against that. Pizzagate will end up being, legitimized, and just laying out all this stuff, and then one by one these things happen, where Trump declares January anti-slavery, anti-human trafficking month. Then people are watching these flights getting stopped left and right on their trips, like as if people are trying to run, and the FBI is, not letting it go down, and there's just a bunch of other stuff going on about that, and then in the midst of it...
Yo, I'm back. Start again with QAnon. So I mean, I don't know anything. All I know is there's a photo to Q and Lord's prayer prediction. That's about all I know.
The thing I ended up seeing was the thing about them saying they're going to start coming down on the pedophiles, the airplanes being stopped, everything like that. Somehow Chrissy Teigen and John Legend got accused, where they said, you guys are all buddy with all these sex traffickers and molesters. Like, how do you factor into this? And then they tried getting all defensive. Chelsea Clinton came in to defend Chrissy Teigen and was like, I've been victim of these conspiracies too. You're better than this girl. Don't worry. And next thing you know, the Church of Satan chimes in, and Chelsea Clinton's wishing them a happy New Year's and all this other stuff. And then the following day,
It's not a good look. It's really
the
not.
following day, one of the bedrooms in the Clinton house in New York caught fire. So
Oh yeah, shit, yeah. Yeah.
people think they were burning evidence, like that was like a cover-up job.
It's better than
Oh,
Mark.
Christ. That doesn't look good at all.
No. So yeah, she's tweeting the Church of Satan, and I mean, there's disinfo being mixed in with the QAnon stuff, and QAnon has even said that in the post. Disinformation is real. So I mean, there's a lot in there, but it ties into the sex trafficking and all of that stuff, and Haiti.
It gives buoyancy to it.
Them trying to go after Trump over his mental health, warning that since the Russia thing is disintegrated, that's where they're going to focus. all sorts of stuff. But it's basically someone who keeps posting on 4chan what's going to happen in the news media this week and next week, and then it all just pans out. They're basically a psychic, yeah.
Wow.
And it's either that or it's someone with extremely high level clearance who's leaking things out.
Or getting that information and leaking it.
Sending the citizen journalist into full swing.
I mean, think how easy it is.
Maybe it's John Titor.
Think how easy it is.
Remember that John Titor guy?
Think of how easy it is. If you're somebody who is in the news, you're on the favorable news side, you get a little bite of something that's like, oh man, we could take it and spin it this way, we could spin it that way, we could really, it's like almost getting a cow and being like a butcher.
Yeah.
And like, we could get a steak out of this, we could get prime rib out of this.
Well, it's like the sort of thing where, you know, Trump went to Japan, he's feeding the koi fish, and the news has this clip where Trump just takes the bucket of fish food and dumps the whole bucket into the fish, and they're like,
yeah, you're actually meant to do
you're meant to do that, but they only showed that clip. They didn't show the Japanese leader doing it 2 seconds beforehand, and they're saying, look at Trump being a buffoon in Japan, look at him being disrespectful, you know, this, and that, and it's like, no, he just did the same thing their leader did. Like, that's, as far as them spinning things, that's how they do. They had this new book come out even, Fire and Fury, and there's all these quotes and
saw
all this stuff
Google
that's
link.
unsubstantiated in it. And they asked the guy, you have no sources, you have no, you know, everyone's saying these quotes aren't real. What do you have to say about this? And he says, well, you know, if it rings true, it is true. Now imagine if Trump tried pulling that. Imagine if he came out and said, Obama's born in Kenya, and they said, what's your proof for this? And he says, well, if it rings true, it is true. They'd be like, fake news, alternative facts, this, and that.
Oh, yeah.
And meanwhile, the media is just going with this. They're saying, if it rings true, it is true.
Wow. If they had taken that approach for the past, 40, 50 years, there would be a lot of things that would ring true that would be not true.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
We would be thinking a lot differently now if that were the rule of thumb 50 years ago up to the present.
Speaking of things that people wish to ring true that aren't true, you know what one of my favorite points to make about Obama, when you have black people fucking reminiscing and being like, oh, I wish we had Obama, Trump's around, this, and that. I just love going to them and being like, you know, Obama accomplished a lot of shit for the gay community. What did he do for the blacks?
Well, I mean, he upped educational incentives.
I guess. You had Michelle start feeding everyone prison food as an incentive to get healthy. Like, that was her big contribution.
Oh, yeah, she had the Get Healthy campaign type
Yep.
deal.
It's caused more divide than ever, because if I'm honest, even with my black friends, I'm uncomfortable around black people.
Well, he set race relations back. Like,
Yeah, the reason I'm uncomfortable is it's got to the situation now where if you argue with them or get in a disagreement with you, they'll just simply call you a racist and you're fucked. You really are fucked.
I was going to mention it earlier. There's this guy who does these videos kind of mocking New Age stuff called The Ultra Spiritual Life. And he recently did one about being a social justice warrior that's hysterical because it's so on point. And he says, like, you know, I have a 5-step protocol with people I argue with online. First, I tell you you're wrong. Then I tell you
There's a protocol?
he's mocking it basically.
Oh,
Where he's
okay.
like, first I tell you you're wrong. Then I tell you what you should think. Then I tell you, you know, because you don't think what you should think, you know, I formulate you down into a one word, a racist, a sexist, blah, blah, blah. And because I have a preconceived notion of what that one word means, I don't need to waste the time to think about what you really think. Like, it's so funny because it's laid out so to the
I've
letter.
kind of seen it play out like that.
It really is. I'll show you guys the video sometime, or I'll add it into this, you know, when I upload it, but it is to the letter what these social justice warriors do, and he just formulated it down to a battle attack, basically.
And you know where that comes from? A lot of that, if you read Fidel Castro's memoirs,
or
that's
Rules
how he
for
did.
Radicals.
Or
Saul
Rules for
Alinsky.
Big
It's
time.
a lot of Alinsky stuff,
Big time.
and people don't realize that's
It's
what it
in
is.
books.
Same as they don't realize, I was showing Dan the cultural Marxism thing, and I was like, it's rooted in critical theory. I said, what does critical theory give you? It gives you a means in which to criticize everything.
That's the measuring rod.
Just to throw something in there quickly, we had on Saturdays in Sky News all these protesters stormed Sadiq Khan in London, our mayor.
Uh-huh.
But what it doesn't say, what is key to this, is he was doing a speak at the Fabian Society of all places.
Hmm.
And he was doing a talk about socialism. And that's not in the paper at all anyway. Like, an Islamist who's mayor of London goes to the Fabian Society to talk about socialism. The least interesting bit is these guys protesting it.
Yeah.
How the fuck does this guy end up in a communist Islamic Fabian Society? Like, do I have to go into the history of the Fabian Society again? I mean, it's like...
Yeah, that's a big red flag for them to overlook.
Right in your face, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But on some levels, it doesn't surprise me. They do. It's like I had the thing where I was going to do articles after they were trying to wrap Martina up in that the Pizzagate nonsense, where it's almost like they always use these terms on the right wing where it's like silence is complicity, where like
Right.
because you're not saying something, you're therefore aiding and abetting. But isn't it interesting when it comes to Pizzagate? Martina said in a video that cheese pizza is used as a code word for child porn and all of that stuff, which is true. It's been completely validated. But because all of these journalists want to just go, Pizzagate's a debunked conspiracy and this and that, and they don't talk about that part of it. And some of these same people will talk about the thing about the YouTube and them having inappropriate videos for kids and all of this stuff, but they're referencing Elsagate without talking about it all being sexualized stuff aimed at children.
Yeah.
Like they're omitting the main issue, which is the sexualization of children, pedophilia, all like they're dancing around it. And it's like, if you want to go with this whole silence is complicit thing, you're complicit towards the darkest of evils. Like, it's ridiculous some of the things the news just chooses to omit.
I think it's absolutely crazy that they are lobbying to make for, in the same way that homosexuals and heterosexuals have that identity, something called what the fuck was it? Like, it was basically saying, that like
pedophilia is just another sexual preference, basically, and therefore it has to be accepted like the rest of them.
Yeah, it's not a choice born this way. It's going to go down the road of born this way.
I can't subscribe to that. It's just...
On Sadiq Khan's Twitter, he's got a photo of him doing a speech, and it says, "Today at the Fabians conference, I spoke about how we cannot allow a populist, anti-feminist narrative to take hold in Britain. Men must become better allies and progressives must fight back." And they're going about this protest. It's like, what? I didn't even think these societies were still functioning.
Yeah, I didn't. I thought the Fabian Society was a thing of the past.
I thought they kept it low key than that.
I mean, you're talking like Orwell and people like that with the Fabian Society. That's crazy. I like you said, I didn't know it was still functional.
Yeah, all Jewish. I know we're talking about them earlier. They've all left London now. They're terrified.
Yeah, there's been a Jewish exodus of Europe. Like, people didn't realize that as the Muslims were coming in, the Jews were leaving. Because they're...
I mean, we all take the piss out of Jews and that guy earlier who's rich, but I think we'd all admit, even though they do stick together, they're pretty nice people.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I have nothing but...
I mean, are you going to be terrified living next door to
Nothing but good things to say about Jewish
They're a
people.
bit annoying, but yeah, you feel pretty safe in your Jewish
I mean,
family.
that's why you know, me and Jack Buckby would joke about it sometimes, where him saying, you know, they call him Jack Cuckby because me and him have nothing but admiration for Jewish people. Like, they obviously know what they're doing. They stick together. They build each other up. They support each other. Like, and they're the ones where if they see one of the group go ahead and do something successful, they all hop behind it. The problem with black people, and this...
I think that's the same in all cultures, though, really.
Well, the problem with the way they've trained black people to be... I even had this with a friend of mine I grew up with, where he was posting some shit with Michelle Obama talking about how Republicans are all just old men. And I have to say, I can't wait for the day when all of these dudes who are like, oh yeah, Michelle Obama, she's it. When they all find out that that's a dude with a dick, they're all going to want to throw themselves off the bridge because they've been fantasizing about her as some sort of dream mother. But either way, she's saying that the Republicans are all old white men. So I sent him 2 pictures of who the Republicans ran for president and who the Democrats did. And I said on the Republican side, you got Ben Carson, who's a black man and a brain surgeon, Marco Rubio, Ted Cruz, 2 Hispanics. You got Rand Paul and Chris Christie, who couldn't even be more opposite with their political beliefs. You got Carly Fiorina, who was a woman who ran a tech company. Like, you have actual diversity over here with their backgrounds, their identities, what they've accomplished, and even their political goals. Then you look at the Democrats. You got all old, white, rich, career politicians who have one goal, and that one goal is growing the government by whatever means possible. That's basically it. There's no diversity over there, and the Democrats actually are everything that the Republicans are accused of being. So I present this case to my friend, and you know what his immediate response is? Oh, that coon-ass Uncle Tom Ben Carson? Really? LOL, laughing face emoji, the whole bit. And it's the crabs in a barrel mentality, where it's like, oh, Ben Carson got out of the hood. Ben Carson grew up in the projects, but he dedicated himself to education. He became a doctor, and now we have to dismiss him and act as if he doesn't exist as a black man because he's going to make the rest of us haters look bad. And that's all it is. Jews don't do that. Jews say, oh, that's what that guy did? Shit, I better take notes.
In fact, a lot of successful black communities do the same thing, too. Like, if you look at some communities in, like, down south, even out west in some of the more gang-dominant areas, they do that.
They stick together.
Where they stick together, and they do like wealth. They do achieve wealth, and they do achieve some of the things that are noted. It just is certain segments. There are certain segments of every community, white, black, whatever, that are on that
haters.
On that haters tip. But it makes no sense.
Neither, because when I go smoke with these guys, they'll listen to rap music non-stop and I'll talk about music and I'll critique the music. And if I'm honest, there's not much to critique. First of all, it's not music, it's just a beat with really bad poetry over it. So I'm not even going to classify it as music. It should be classified as what it is, which is a beat with poetry on it. Because music has to have certain elements, has to have certain ideas behind it. If it doesn't contain a couple of them, I don't think it's music. A lot of it's, like when I listen to it, a lot of it's degenerate.
Yeah.
It's not uplifting. There's no real instruments. There's no variation. And I'm going to get like really spiritual, but I think like people would agree that everything runs off of frequency and energy, whether it's me, you. So when you've got a guitar, that energy's going from my brain through my neurotransmitters down my arm, and coming out of the guitar. The string acts as a frequency, which is vibrating against my pickup, and then that goes through an amp, which is all frequency. I'm controlling a lot of noise and a lot of frequency. There's a lot of dedication, a lot of care. Every time I play it, it's different. Like each time I play a Metallica or a Jimi Hendrix, it's going to be different.
Yeah.
It's never going to be the same. Every note I can bend slightly, I can hold it. I can move my hand up and down the fretboard, like the bridge area when I'm playing to get different tones out my strumming hand. There's so much eloquent little aspects to a real musician that I think you guys are missing out on it.
Well, and you know what the thing is too?
Like, I really want to see. I don't want to see a rap band 'cause it's not music.
It wasn't always
no
like that
real
either,
musician.
where it's like I always consider the 90s to be when like the soul that was in music died, because like even if you look at the R&B of the 90s compared to like nowadays, they were using drum machines, but you generally had a live bassist on it.
Right.
Yeah, you mix it up by all means. I'm not saying be completely straight every live music instrument.
Yeah, I mean, they were essentially doing what Prince did. You know, Prince implemented drum machines and programming, but he would also jam along with it and, you know, do stuff like
That was
that.
only because he was so self-contained, such a control freak that he wants control over everything. That's a great way to do it. But what I see now is the way I describe the music they're listening to, in essence, is satanic by every
Yeah.
means. It's turned music on its head and made it everything that it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And when I say this, it's like, oh, you're a racist, you just don't get us. It's like, no, you're being racist towards me now, and I can't possibly get it just because I'm not black.
You know,
I'm saying you don't get it because you can't play a fucking
that
instrument.
reminds me, you probably saw me post about it, but let me tell you about this thing and this job I started. It's kind of like a social work type thing. I had to do a diversity workshop type learning module for training. And there's this one part in it where it's talking about how you have to be aware of different people and their cultures and, you know, things like that. And it basically said in a nutshell that if a white person says they hear the voice of God in their head, they're crazy. But if a Mexican person says they hear the voice of God, well, that's just their culture. And, you know, you need to respect that.
It takes it as that being a variable.
Yeah. Like, and it's just funny because it's like, why can't the white person or the black person who's saying they hear the voice of God in their head imply it in the same way as the Mexican person? Like, it's so funny because, like, when we get to the point where we teach people to be so sensitive of these cultural things that essentially boil down to stereotypes, you essentially just tell people to view everyone as a stereotype for the sake of precaution.
No, but I can stereotype that like so accurately as well. It's like I'm being a bit harsh. Admittedly, when they put on a beat or a rap track, the first 20 seconds is great. First 20 seconds is absolutely great. But the point is, once we got to 20 seconds, I've heard the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
Like, music should be about, like, I know I'm not a music hospital, I'm not a Jamie, but I'm sure we've got the same thing in our mind, that we want to at least take you on a journey where you're not quite sure where it's going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of it's a telling story, you don't know where it's going to go. And with this, I know exactly where this is going to go after 10 seconds, I'm afraid.
People have been so conditioned to that now that's like almost.
Yeah, but you see it affecting your friends. It's like don't get me wrong, I like them, but it's why you're so fucking retarded. It's because it is.
Yeah.
It's because the sort of stuff you put into your head I can see it. It's like you don't agree with this stuff, and you can't figure out why it's wrong. And when I explain it to you, it's like a light comes on, but it's like surely you can figure this shit out by yourself.
You'd think.
Because this is like basic stuff I'm teaching you. The basics of the basics. We're not even getting complicated. But I think music is a ritual, it's a spiritual thing.
Yeah.
Some people say music's coming into you. You're not experiencing that by hitting the fucking drums and going, yo. I'm afraid you're fucking not. And I'm saying it not because I hate you. I want you to understand the magic of music and creation.
Yeah, I think.
I'm not saying you can't use a drum machine, guys. I'm not saying you can't do it. I'm just saying, like, every single rap artist now seems to have this acorn for coda.
Yeah.
It's almost like the same preset for every single guy. Where it's really high-pitched electronic. It's like, it's good when Akon did it, but it's kind of boring now.
Well, and that's.
I'm like, guys, seriously, listen to Metallica. Like, yeah, it's about a group of guys that have to bounce off each other. And the energy bounce off each other and they inspire each other, and it becomes this great driving force called Metallica. If you take Kirk Hammett out the band,
Yeah.
it's pretty much useless. If you take James Hetfield out by himself, it's not that great. Lars Ulrich isn't a great drummer, but you put these guys together, and you've got the most incredible band.
Oh yeah.
And they get energy, they give energy, the audience gets energy, it just gets mirrored backwards and forwards. And like I say, they're actually playing when you watch them live, you're actually watching Kirk Hammett.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be different every fucking night.
Well, you know, there's even a group I really like that's I guess they'd be considered garage music in the UK. It's kind of, I would call it like deep house. It's a lot of electronic pianos and dance beats, but the vocal arrangements are very, very 90s R&B. It's this group called Chloe. It's two cousins. It's the chick who sings, and she's playing keyboard and triggering vocal samples and shit, and he's, you know, doing drum programming and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But they do it live. Like, they're, like, jamming out these tracks and, you know, essentially taking the technology to its most creative and innovative and involved level, where it's like, I don't even mind that you're triggering samples and not, like, playing out the notes and just starting the loop of the stuff you played, because you're still, like, cranking up the reverb at certain parts and, like, doing shit with
There's
it.
some mastery
it's involved. Yeah, they're turning it into an art form rather than it just being this cut and dry, start to finish, you know. Like, there's parts where she'll sing a part through a looper and then start messing with her vocals and, like, you know, interesting stuff. So, I mean, there is a level where you can do that and take...
Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just racist and I should just, like, get into this rap music. But I hate it. Like, I really, actually
Well,
hate
because
it.
the thing is there's a laziness to it. Like, that's part of it, where it's like you're seeing music in its most bare-bones, lazy form, and then seeing it be glorified and praised, and then if you are...
It's not that, it's just every single track is a rap track. You have to play it over and over. It's like, it sounds like the one before, it sounds like the one before. And then when I start critiquing, like, a whole album, you can hear they've just used the same template as well.
Yeah.
They're not even changing the instruments around on the door. It's in the same key, and that's the other thing, it's just like, it just starts, like, when I play guitar along and jam, it's like, I never get out of that shape. Once the song starts, I'm stuck in this shape.
Yeah.
And I don't, and it's like, I'm just trying to, like, pull them out there, and there's good music out there, guys. It's not like it's alright listening to one or two tracks, but every single track is this. Every single one. And they're going, but you just listen to Metallica. It's like, no, dude. If you go through my music section, it's got everything in it. It's got jazz, it's got rap, it's got classical, it's got metal, it's got everything. It's got Prince as a genre in himself. Listen to a lot of that. I listen to all, but it has to be music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be able to hear the person inside, not because it's gone on reason and just hit a couple of buttons until it works.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love my mindless hip-hop music.
Oh, I mean, I think there's a time... You know, when I listen to rap, I generally want to fight someone. Like, I think it just, like, instantly increases my testosterone. And it's like... But so I'll listen to it when I'm working out. And when you're working out, that's great to kind of have it be mindless and just a beat being like... Boof, boof,
yeah, right.
Boof. You're just lifting weights repetitively over and over. So in that regards, repetitive over and over, nonsensical music, it works. But if you're talking about music as an art form and a craft, and, you know, the way I'm sure, Paul, you're criticizing the music from a standpoint of craftsmanship.
It's not like a Rush album.
Yeah, it's nowhere near.
And then I feel really bad as well once I do it. It's like, I'm sorry, this is just that's nothing. And then you go, let's do a track together. And they're like, oh, we have to do it on reason. We have to do it on reason. And I'm like, I can't use reason. And they go, it's because you don't understand. I thought you understood music. I was like, yeah, I'd rather use something like fruit. Like, I can't. I think reason is actually time for people that know nothing about music.
Right.
I'm not being harsh, but I don't know if you've used reason.
Yeah, I used to use it a lot. You know, it's weird for you to say that, though, only because the way it's set up, like hardware modules, I never liked it because I thought it was too much like people who are used to being in studios because of the way it has the wiring system in the back and everything.
It's good for making a beat, like a rap.
Yeah. And it's really great. The thing I love about it is the vocorder in it, because you can run any synth as a vocorder. So I mean, it's great for electronic music and like you're saying, hip hop being produced in it. But the original Reason had no audio recording capabilities.
Right.
So I mean, as you're saying, as far as if you wanted to add a guitar or something, for the beginning of that whole program, you just couldn't do it.
You couldn't do it. You had to export it to something
Or
else.
you had to record the guitar in something else and then sample your guitar parts and do it like that.
Even just teach them like how the piano roll works. It's like, dude, you really need to get to grips with the piano roll. And I think the reason you ignore it is because it does take some music knowledge.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Like how long each beat needs to be, like figure out the scale, and that's why I've shown him like cheats how you can do it. And it's like, no, it's got to be on this. It's got to be on this. It's like, okay, I see that. And so you even try and help them, like do a track with them, so they can see how I'm thinking when I'm putting something together. Like it has to have certain chords and notes at least, and then you can start fucking with it. With this, it's just like beat done, beat done, beat done. It's like, yeah, beats are part of a song. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's not the whole. And you know, it's funny. I have rappers in the area all the time come, yo, Jay, let's go with some beats. Let me get some beats. And it's like, why do you think I'm just sitting around making beats? Like, I can write a song. Like, why wouldn't I work on my own? You think I'm just over here like, poof, ksh, poof. All right, let me find someone spit on this, man. No.
I was thinking surely you could just get like there must be about where you just go online and it just algorithms rap beats for you. I don't see why you need a human being.
I have programs that can algorithmically compile almost any type of song. And I think, you know, rap songs are the only ones not included because I think they require so little. It's not worth it's not worth programming the algorithm to play 5 notes and a drum beat, because that's, I mean, think about it's like dun, 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 dun. I mean, think about Little John songs. Like you're talking 3 notes.
It's a waltz.
The rapping I'm seeing that's coming out now is really narcissistic. It's like, oh, me, look at me, and how women owe him stuff.
Who is that with?
Yeah, it's just all the stuff I was listening to. It's like really narcissistic.
Yeah.
Like over the top narcissistic.
Hey, that's always kind of been the message in rap, like who's nicer, who's got the
No, I don't know, not the highest one.
Well, and I'll tell you, I do really hate, like you're saying, their whole defense of it, where it's like, it's the culture, you wouldn't understand it, you can't criticize this. It's like, oh my god, like...
It always boiled down to who was lyrically nicer and who wasn't, whose style was the best.
Yeah, and it's like, you
rap.
give me some Tupac, like, Tupac I'll be right with you on, but once you start trying to say one of these Lil Uzi Verts, or like someone who's like, want it, bad it, bought it, mad it, want it, bad it, want it, mad it, like trying to say that that's on the level of Tupac, no.
No, there was a craft to what Pac did, and all the early MCs, all they were ever talking about was, you know, who was biting their style and who had the best style.
I didn't listen to much Tupac, but didn't he sing quite a lot?
Yeah, Tupac had a lot of melodic, you know, he kind of started that, like, kind of the way 50 Cent would, like, sing hooks and be like, go shorty, it's your birthday. Like,
real
these
simple.
little simple, but, and you know who a lot of that was, though? That was Dr. Dre. That was Dre being in the, because Eminem did the same thing. Anyone that Dre produced ended up kind of doing those little singing parts.
Yep.
Because it makes a hook a lot more memorable than just rapping some shit.
Absolutely.
The thing is, I sound bad when you listen to them rap. Yes, even I want to record them, so they actually realise they're not even actually good at rapping, and I can't do anything with the tracks. Because that's the other thing they don't get as a guitarist. Like, I'm shit, like I'm not that good, but if I have to do a track for a song, do you know how many takes it takes? Like, seriously, do you know how many? Do you want to take a guess?
Yeah, it probably depends on, you know, how much you've practiced it beforehand, but if you're writing it on the fly, a lot.
That's it as well. Yeah, you could be looking at, like, I don't think it's unrealistic to get through maybe 70 or 80 takes. And then you're recording with them doing take-off take. They're not the same rap, it's different every time. So it's like, okay, we can use that, but really I need you to be tight, and I need the same words every time, so I start doubling up. Do you know what I mean? I need something that's consistent. It's like they can't, it's not even written.
Yeah.
And then when they listen to back that, they're actually just mumbling, they're not even rapping. Okay, now you see why I'm so passionate about music. It's not fucking easy.
Yeah.
And this is why I can't go out, Jamie. This is why I've not been out in like actually a month.
Huh?
It's not.
Hey, me neither.
I mean, that's pretty much, fucking living in the hood. That's going out around here. That's kind of what you encounter most of the time. Like, it's funny, when I was talking to Dan at one point, he was like, I don't really keep in touch with people. I kind of have a small circle, this, and that. And talking about as if there's something wrong with it, because, society does. Like, I was telling him after we were leaving breakfast, I was like, I think about it where it's like, 100 years ago, we didn't have cities. Like, we had cities, but you didn't have high-rise apartment complexes where everyone is huddled in together and, so close to one another. I said, but then we got to cities, then we got to the internet, and now we are digitally connected to everyone we've ever met at all times through our pockets, and these little cell phone things. I'm like, this has to evoke a level of anxiety, and just, humans aren't supposed to be this connected and this interactive and everything like that. And it does, where it starts to create issues where, like we're all saying, you have it where you're the odd man out of a culture that has nothing to offer you, and you just start to wonder,
just imagine if these guys listen, because the reason I'm trying to push it is none of us are working at the moment. We've all got all this equipment. Why don't we make our own fucking album?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to push. It's always like, oh, no. It's like, just write something that's not about bitches and hoes, but actually something that's going to be meaningful. Even if you just rip it off from Stefan Molyneux or something, or a philosopher book, just read a fucking book and just rap about it.
Yeah.
And actually come up with some decent music, like start getting the inspiration back. So I think there's such a niche for it at the moment. Like, people must be actually begging for it. Like, I don't think we even have to be that good to succeed.
Yeah, no, I think there.
No, what the fuck's doing it?
I think there is, even like Brett, you spend a lot of time listening to like battle rap and stuff like that, and I think that's where a lot of the. I think that's where a lot of the, rappers that you would be more interested in, Paul, have kind of gravitated towards, because there is still an art aspect to it, and because it's in the battle format, there's a competitiveness where it's like
I did not that they were going, oh, you're being harsh. There are good rappers that rap about real things and really great sci-fi stories or great stories about this. I was like, who? And then they're like, I was like, that's my point. You keep saying that I'm not getting it, that I'm not listening to the right stuff. It don't fucking exist, mate. You can't even, you're the experts and you can't point me right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because there aren't any mainstream, anyone talking about anything of substance or anything like that.
But wouldn't H.G. Wells be a great rap? What a book on 1984.
Yeah.
Anything like that.
There's a couple of abstract thinking hip-hop artists out there that do put out, like, conceptual stuff, who do put out, like, pieces, like, things that they've, like, turned into a narrative that actually is, like, respectable to look at. Like, however, there is, the stuff that's more popularized is the stuff that is, crap.
Yeah.
Like, there are, like, guys that are, like, hip-hop wise, they're like John Coltrane or Miles Davis. They're trying to abstractly do what they do, but they're not getting the respect that they're actually due because of the musicianship that they actually employ. So it stinks that the crap is what surfaces, and the actual good kind of goes to the wayside.
I think there's nothing like being in a band and just feeling the energy of somebody else, hearing your riff and then applying to it, and then that influencing it, and that spiral.
Right.
That's my win, generally. That's why I don't go out the house, because every time I do, I just listen to rap music and I just slate it, and then I get thrown out.
Yeah, it's funny. It takes a lot to kind of get that.
It's not as if I'm just slating it, like I'm going into massive detail. I'm not just like saying shit. Like, I'm giving you like a proper breakdown.
Yeah, as to why you think that way about it. But I don't know. But anyway, we should probably wrap this up. I gotta fucking get on to other things before I fucking go to work tonight.
That's right. Alright. I was gonna ask you predictions for 2018.
Oh, we can do that real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see. Predictions for 2018.
Sheesh. Everyone's gonna have a smartphone.
Everyone already does.
Every single person on the planet. Indigenous
I don't
tribes.
take mine out of the house.
Indigenous
I
tribes.
don't take mine out of the
Here's
house.
what I think, Paul, actually. Here's my prediction, and I don't know if it will be 2018 or next year. I think you're going to see a major restructuring of, I don't know if I'd say the internet, but how people use the internet. And I think that's because you have, what just came out about Veritas and Twitter shadow banning people. You have Milo and Roger Stone who are suing Twitter. James Damore is suing Google. Alex Jones and Diamond and Silk are suing YouTube, who is Google. You have all of the big internet sites now being people going after them. The net neutrality thing has been repealed. So I think we're going to see shakeups in Silicon Valley. That's my big prediction.
My one is masculinity going to be borderline illegal by this time next year.
Huh?
All forms of being masculine will be illegal by this time, or it'll be deemed as rude by this time next year.
You think so? You think that the gender war is gonna... I'll tell you, they're pushing it. Did you see the new Star Wars movie?
Yeah, that's what made me think that.
Did you see Sargon of Akkad did a really great video where he retells the story, but he's got little funny names for everyone, like Commander Gender Studies and
The token.
and the Token. Yeah, his breakdown of that movie is so great.
Yeah, it's that carbon copy of what's going on in England, the way they burn up their text and the Jedi text, and where they come from isn't important. And look at the new embrace, and all the women just fuck everything up.
Yeah, and it's like they don't even care that they're fucking everything up because at least they got to boss around the guys in the process.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons I haven't got an office job at the moment. I'm terrified of women. It's taken me 34 years to figure that out. I'm terrified of women in a workplace. Not all women, but a lot of them I'm terrified
Yeah. You got...
Because they can come up with moments, they can just cry and just be emotional and they're going to have free argument at work.
You gotta find the equivalent of a Republican female for a boss. That's what I have, and it's great.
Yeah, imagine it must be easy to, when you're in an office of 60 people or something. It's just fucking...
Yeah, I think an office job would drive me crazy. But, I don't know, so your prediction is smartphones for indigenous tribes?
Yeah, that, and probably actually a whole lot of nothing. I honestly...
I think, there will probably be a whole lot of fanfare in the media about nothing. That's what I'm saying. The death throes will continue. The Trump has 2 scoops of ice cream and everyone else gets 1. He's such a monster.
They gotta reach for some real news that we should probably be aware of.
Yeah.
Well, Korea's still be on the map this time next year.
North Korea? Well, did you see what happened as far as, the remarks where Trump was like, I have a bigger button, and then next thing you know, they were calling up South Korea trying to play nice?
Yeah.
The media reports those 2 things like they're unrelated, but they're very related. It's because, if you're a tyrannical dictator of a country, you can't bow down and play nice to America, but you gotta do a gesture that shows, alright, we're in our place.
Pretty much, yeah.
So what are you saying? Do you think North Korea will survive?
Yeah.
This year?
I think that we might end up removing Kim Jong whatever, but...
Yeah.
I think it'll still be there. I think things will be resolved diplomatically, though, instead of it going to war.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go nearly into as forceful. And if it does, it's going to be real brief.
Yeah. It'll be like a week where...
just shit hits the
Don't
fan.
you think it's weird that the President of the United States uses Twitter the way he does, though?
Huh?
You gotta admit, it's fucking weird. how
Yeah,
Trump uses Twitter.
I'm kind of in agreement with that, but he's also rolling with
Meanwhile.
times is how he's playing it.
If I was his mate, I'd go there. fucking leave Twitter alone.
He likes to have it because the utility of it is it combats the news that comes out.
Yeah, the disinfo. It's his way to directly communicate. I mean, you know, Dave said it, and it's funny because Dan, he considers himself a liberal, but even he agreed. Despite Trump being a reality TV show guy and everything like that, Trump is far less of a celebrity than Obama was.
Yeah. No,
like, Obama had that cult of personality where he could have been, like, literally dropping bombs everywhere every day of his presidency. And if he just came out and sung a little Al Green, no one would give a shit. Like, Obama had the celebrity factor full force where he could do no wrong.
He incorporated it into his platform.
Yeah. Well, you had Henry Lennox come out and say Obama shadowed him for 2 years to train to act presidential. So and he was always powwowing in Hollywood with Clooney and fundraising and shit like that. So, in a lot of ways, yeah, Obama was more of a celebrity than Trump ever will be. Trump still seems very blue collar. You know, he'll show up to a construction site and see how shit's going on.
Yep.
You think 2018 is going to be better then?
Huh?
You think 2018 is going to be better?
Yeah. I think things are getting better now. It's just got to hit full swing. But yep, those are my predictions.
That's fair.
So.
Yeah, I think like this time next year, just to wear male clothes would be bad. You just see people walking around men wearing dresses.
They're gonna force men into dresses. I mean, I'll tell you, with some of the stuff you see, you almost wouldn't be surprised.
I'm not just I can see it happen. Just masculinity being just frowned upon.
You end up having like an elementary school say the new dress code for boys is dresses to introduce.
And being attractive to women is abnormal.
Yep.
And it's part of the rape culture. But if you want to be attracted to kids, that's great.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Alright, well.
I'm getting depressed. I need cheering up next. Like anything, like any glimmer of hope would be good.
Oh, I'm sure the next time there's dialogue, there's gonna be something interesting, probably.
Alright, well let's. Yeah, well let's wrap this up because even the speaker I have you going through is starting to die. That's why I keep having to ask you what she said because it's getting all distorted.
Yeah, can you call me during the week and show me how you record?
Yeah. I'll walk you through it.
I'll just send it.
And I'll pull out the files for the programs because I have to go through that hard drive anyway.
Cool, man. That'd be a help.
So, alright, I'll talk to you later in the week, man.
Alright,
Alright, take care.
Yeah, man.
Thankfully, the pro.